Hello there, good afternoon. It's Saturday, the 25th of June 2022, and you're welcome to GOV'T here on Metro Television. We are live on DSTV channel 277 and also on Facebook at Metro TV Ghana. My name is Desmond Okrepidan. So let's take a look at our headlines this afternoon. Now, Governance and Public Financial Management expert Dr. Eric Odrosai says the Auditor General should have been tasked to audit all expenditure of COVID-19 instead of others. And gospel sensation Diana Hamilton unveiled as brand ambassador of Property Electronics. We'll bring you details on that. And in news from elsewhere, 18 migrants reported dead when a huge crowd tried to cross the North African enclave of Melilla. Details coming up shortly. Let's settle for the details now. And Governance and Public Financial Management expert Dr. Eric Odrosai says the Auditor General should have been tasked to audit all expenditures on COVID-19 before the presentation by the Finance Minister before Parliament. This, he says, would have promoted accountability and transparency in the Akufo-Addo government. He spoke in an earlier interview on Inside Pages.
If Parliament, in providing its oversight responsibility, really want a verification or a validation of an expenditure that has been incurred, such as COVID, in my understanding, the Right Honourable Speaker could have invited the Auditor General to conduct a special audit on the COVID expenditure and submit that special report directly to Parliament. Be it as it may, when even the Right Honourable Speaker did not invite the Auditor General to conduct that special audit, but rather requested the Minister for Finance to submit a report to the House on it. As soon as the report was submitted to the House, I would have expected that the Speaker or the members of Parliament will unanimously agree that they refer that particular report to the Auditor General or the Internal Audit Agency to verify and validate the report and submit an independent audit opinion on that report to Parliament. In that case, they will have some level of reliability on that particular Auditor General or the Internal Audit Agency's report. Because in my understanding and professional opinion, Parliament cannot independently verify the figures submitted by the Finance Minister unless they get a professional like the Auditor General or the Internal Audit Agency, whose professional mandate architecture is to do this exercise. In that case, you take away the politics. In that case, you get an expert opinion to rely on. In that case, we would all know that this has been certified and approved or disapproved by a professional auditor provided for under our laws.
And the Member of Parliament for Tamale Central, Murtala Ibrahim, says the Finance Minister is not fit for office following his presentation before Parliament on COVID-19 expenditures.
They should stop using the word free. It is unacceptable to continuously telling the people of this country that you gave them free water, free electricity. Moro, what is free? If you give me something today and you say it's free, and tomorrow I'm being asked to pay for it, do you have any moral justification to continuously use the word free to describe it? No, I'm asking you, be very honest.
No, it cannot be free because I'm paying for it.
Exactly. Yeah. As we sit today, we do not know whether we have paid for it or we are paying in excess. You gave people water, and at that time, my taps were not even flowing.
So you didn't enjoy it?
I didn't. In fact, I was buying water. That time, even the taps, that time they were not, I was buying water. Many people were buying water. The other thing is that It was for some consumers, the electricity, not everybody.
Lifeline.
Lifeline. Today, whether you enjoyed it or not, you are being asked to pay for it. Is it fair? Because it was just for those who were consuming, power at certain, those they describe as lifeline consumers.
Yes.
Those who were not lifeline consumers never enjoyed it. Today, they are being asked to pay for it. At the time when you describe President Mohammed's government as incompetent, inflation was 15%. Today, it's 27%, and only God knows where it is now. At the time when you describe President Mohammed's government as incompetent, the dollar to the cedi was 3.6.
Well, why are you bringing these issues up?
It's because of how abysmally this economy
is
managed, and it is managed by three people: the president, the vice president, who is the chairman of the economic management team, and that management is also done by the minister for finance, who refused to appear before Parliament, and only when he appeared before Parliament, he could not account for what is there. And I can tell you, and I say this with all the sincerity, that this Minister for Finance is still the Minister for Finance because he uses Oforiata. I can tell you, if he never had any family relations with this president, he wouldn't have been there. That is why I ask you to look into the cameras and sincerely tell me whether this man has not failed in all the areas.
Now, government spokesperson on governance and security, PARL, speaking on the same program, said, despite the concerns being raised by the minority, the government has managed the COVID-19 pandemic better than any other country.
The 1st of March, 2020, when we started recording our first 2 cases, up until this year when we had to lift up some of the bans, you clearly would see the vociferous nature and the leadership that President has brought together. I think that it's inappropriate for my very good senior, Honorable Mutala, to state that we have not managed the COVID-19 pandemic well and that other countries have managed it better.
I haven't said that. I said
than us.
You haven't managed it better than Senegal. You haven't managed it better than Ivory Coast.
I believe that we have managed
it.
I believe very well that we have managed the COVID-19 pandemic better than any continental leader on this continent of Africa. Okay. And I put it on record, clearly.
How many lives were lost in Ghana?
Well, 6 million people died globally.
No, in Ghana.
In Ghana, about 1,400 people died.
How many lives were lost in Senegal?
You see, what is the population of Senegal to the population of Ghana? Let's put these things, and let's not put things by family and all of those other things, that because he bears the Oforiata name, for which reason he's still the finance minister. I think that the good people of this country have seen his work. They value the work that he has done. They look at all successive finance ministers. And look, since 1957, we have never had a global pandemic of this nature that has halted many economies of the world. And we have thought outside the box on issues of unemployment. It's a major concern for every single government in this world. I have looked at the data, and in fact, I am increasingly troubled. Of course, there are many young people that are unemployed, many graduates who have first degree, second degree, PhD that are unemployed. But which is why, as a government, we are rolling out one of the most innovative entrepreneurial plan. Because how can a country develop if we do not have the backbone of the private sector?
Now, Parliament has directed the Minister for Defence to order the immediate withdrawal of soldiers undertaking the installation of prepaid meters in the lower KROBO constituency to ease tensions there. The second Deputy Speaker, Andrew Siama, given the directive, also demanded the Minister of Energy to brief the House on the need for the deployment.
The soldiers are assisting the ECG with the installation of new prepaid meters following months of hostility between residents and the ECG over the payment of electricity bills. The ECG has justified the use of military personnel during the exercise. The deployment was because previous attempts at introducing prepaid meters in the enclave caused a rift between residents and workers of ECG, with cases where ECG officials were reportedly physically assaulted and a resident shot dead in a police response, which also left others injured. A member of parliament for the area, Ebenezer Okletete-Labi, raised the matter on the floor of the House on Friday, indicating that the presence of the military men is heightening tensions in the community.
I believe that we have had enough tension in this country. We have had enough.
And there's a need for us to really be very careful when we are deploying these men. Because, Mr. Speaker, I don't know the kind of briefing that they were giving. But then they move into their homes carrying guns. And then they come, they ask, and they said they have been instructed by national security to come and install meters. Mr. Speaker, the people are not happy about it, and it is creating tension. Mr. Speaker, as part of the agreement, what we said was that at least we are lucky we have a lot of institutions in this area. We could start with the institutions as engage the communities. And in the process, Mr. Speaker, even those who were against it or are against it would come on board. But then, Mr. Speaker, what is happening now, it is not sightly at all. It is unsightly.
Second Deputy Speaker Andrew Amwakwesiama subsequently issued directives to the Ministers for Energy and Defense on the matter.
We are also directing that the Minister for Defense withdraw the military attaché in the area for the time being over the weekend, for us to actually settle the matters. I so direct.
But following a recent stakeholder consultation amongst interested parties aimed at finding an amicable solution, an agreement was arrived at to commence the process.
And a member of Parliament's Mines and Energy Committee, Edward BAWA, has painted a gloomy picture over the country's fuel pricing situation. According to him, prices of petroleum products may continue to surge if government does not, as a matter of urgency, operationalize the Tema oil refinery.
The BDCs bring fuel. The issue of freight is considered. The issue of insurance and other things are considered. If you have a situation where, as a country, we decide, because this is a crisis, if you look at all the petroleum agreements we sign, we always indicate that in periods of crisis, the state has the right to ask partners of our various fuels to supply the country with crude. And so what it would have done, that the country would have been saved from the whole idea of having to, export or maybe import crude, because we'll just take it from our oil fields straight to tow and refine. That obviously will bring down some costs because it reduces what we call the ex-refinery price. So I think that alone would have saved us a lot of And again, it would have also helped us in terms of our foreign exchange issues. Because as we speak now, because of the fact that BDCs have to import petroleum products, what is happening? If you look at their import bill, Bloomberg just reported just last week, the import bill is around $450 million every month. $450 million, Bank of Ghana can only auction $100 million. So can you imagine that this forex is made available, we are saved from having to go for this forex and rather just use our crude, process our crude to be able to supply. It can help even in stabilizing our city. And so the response that is, I don't have a problem looking for a strategic partner. But in the interim, you must make TOR work. As we speak now, TOR has been idle for God knows how long. Since the beginning of the year, we have not seen.
And still on TOR, the Ministry of Energy has refuted claims by energy think tank IES suggesting that the Tema oil refinery faces imminent collapse under the leadership of the sector minister, Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh. Public Relations Officer of the Energy Ministry, Kwesi Obinfosu, said the ministry has already commenced processes to revive the oil refinery.
The Institute for Energy Security, in a petition, appealed to President Nana Akufo-Addo to save the Tema oil refinery, TOR, from imminent collapse. According to the Institute, the Energy Minister has failed to provide the leadership necessary for the restoration of TOR. But in a sharp rebuttal, Public Relations Officer of the Ministry of Energy, Kwesi Obinfosu, said the minister has already taken steps to restore the refinery, describing the claims by the Institute of Energy Security as a distraction.
Just 4 days after getting into this office, went straight to TOR. And then he went there to meet union leaders, union members, staff, senior staff members, and then management. And then he proceeded to give TOR an IMC after consulting presidency. And as part of the notes that the IMC added to the board, the minister stated that the board should quickly work with management to do the necessary checks in consultation with the interministerial committee and other related bodies to ensure that TOR gets a strategic partner that is ready to work on the depths of TOR, and then as well as reviving the refinery. And very soon we will see.
He added the cost of fuel will be reduced once the Tema oil refinery is rejuvenated.
He is committed to ensure if TOR is back on its feet and we are refining our own oil, then that means we're not going to pay more for importing fuel. And if you're not paying more for importing fuel, why do you, well, you can't pass anything on to the final consumer. You understand, the cost of production is now lower, and that is what the consumer must also pay. So by fine, like, it will be extended to the consumer. We're going to pay less for fuel.
Kwesi Obingfosu said the minister is also committed to ensuring there is no corruption at the refinery once it begins operating at its full capacity.
Some people interdicted, they were asked to step aside so the investigations will go on. After the investigations, we find out you've not done anything wrong, you come back and you take your job. So a minister who has shown this commitment should tell you that if you joke and he hears of any corruption, you will go. Because Tom must leave. And then he's been saying he's a minister today, tomorrow he will not be here. But TOR will be there forever. So whoever is not working in the interest of TOR must leave for TOR to function.
He assured the minister is committed to ensuring TOR is put on a sound footing to support Ghana's industrialization drive.
Now let's stay a bit longer on this, and we have been joined via phone by the research and policy analyst of the Institute of Energy Security, Zache Derek Emmanuel, who has petitioned the president about the revival of the Tema oil refinery and the lack of leadership on the part of the energy minister. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us here on Newsbeat. Well, you've heard claims from the ministry that, you know, your assertion that nothing is being done about the revival of the refinery is actually not true. What do you have to say about that?
1 minute.
Hello, Derek.
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, you can go on.
Okay, so basically, it is just because of the importance of TOR to the economy of Ghana, and that is the only refinery for the state. So now they are producing under capacity, there is underinvestment, there is incoherent policy directions, and the operational inefficiency on the part of TOR. There isn't that kind of working capital for capital injections. And knowing the importance of TOR to the economy of Ghana and how that affects our price build-up, we are calling on the government of Ghana to step in as a matter of urgency to be able to revive TOR as soon as possible.
Okay, so thank you very much, Derek. We'll come back to you for some more on that particular story. So Derek Emmanuel is with the Institute of Energy Security. Let's move away from that. And the Industrial Relations Officer of the GPRTU, Imoro Abbas, says his outfit has served notice to the government on its intended 15% increment in transport fares. He added the president's remark on May Day that some taxes on fuel cannot be removed gives them no option than to increase transport fares to match the incessant increment in fuel prices.
Our clients are our relatives. In Ghana, a Ghana man has married an Ashanti man has married an Ewe has married an Izima, and Izima all over. So we are one big family in Ghana. We are always working with our relatives. So we always sympathize with some of these things that when we come to an increment, how best can we do that? The previous increment that we brought, the 20%, you heard later some of our drivers were saying, oh, the 20% is too small, you should have come up with 30%. Lo and behold, on who? On our people. Who are our people? Our own relatives. Hence, we brought that religious 20%. So it is our hope and prayer that we'll definitely come up with something reasonable. If we are to insist on the 15%, fine. Our people are patiently waiting for us till we come out with a new upward adjustment. Well, the government can buy time because we have done our feasibility studies before coming up with this 15%. You also have to study and make sure they can meet us with some questions. We've also prepared to make sure that we are going to defend whatever percentage we brings out, but not to tell us that we shouldn't increase it. That wouldn't be possible. Okay. It wouldn't be nice also. If they have anything to do, then they should advise the NP or whoever is in position to make sure they can either slash the price down for us.
Now let's get back to our earlier story on Tema Oil Refinery, and Jache Derrick of the Institute of Energy Security has joined us back on phone. So now I really want to understand your concern about the lack of leadership on the part of the Energy Minister.
So basically the concern has been that he has been in office for almost 2 years now. When he took over, he set up the IMC. The IMC finished their work and they reported back to him. It's been almost a year now. There hasn't been anything done after the IMC finished its work. And so we're expecting that policy actions would have been taken after they finished their work. For almost a year now, there isn't that kind of strategic partnership for TOR to be revived and then to be able to refine the necessary crude in Ghana here. And so basically, this has been the major concern, that TOR, under the leadership of the Honorable Minister, has been a bit down and has not been working.
Now, the ministry says that they are working towards reviving the refinery. You have also petitioned the president on that. What will be the next line of action?
Pardon me?
I'm asking that the ministry says they are working on reviving the refinery. You have, or your outfit has also, petitioned the president. What will be the next line of action if, in the coming days, nothing is done about it?
And so our next line of action is to be following keenly what is going to happen. If it is the ministry is saying that they want and then it's their aim to revive TOR, that will be the good news for everybody. But for how long would that take? Because we know the current global trend in terms of the fuel and then the petroleum pricing. And so how long should we wait as Ghanaians to be able to benefit from something that is originally ours? Should we wait for importers to be able to import crude to Ghana, and that will affect the price build-up? That also affects the exchange rate. That will also affect fuel security in Ghana. For how long should Ghanaians be able to enjoy this thing? That is the strategic reason for the government. And so we will continue to monitor. We will continue to give timelines. 1 year down the lane that there is no policy action, had it not been IAS voicing this thing out, wouldn't have even seen any communique from Tema Oil Refinery that they are now looking for a strategic partnership or partner that will be able to finish their terms of reference within the next 4 months. 4 weeks to be able to renegotiate. Now, after the renegotiation, you have to go and look for the capital. How long will it take you for you to be able to raise the needed capital and inject that capital to be able to revive TOR? So these are the major questions that we will continue to ask. And then as a matter of urgency, the government of the day needs to step in, look for the strategic partnership, let them have their timelines and be able to revive TOR as soon as possible. It will ensure revenue mobilization, it will ensure fuel security, it will ensure employment, it will also ensure stable currency, and that will be for the benefit of all of us. We wouldn't have come anytime and say fuel price on the rise, which also affects virtually everything in the economy of Ghana.
Thank you very much, Derrick Emmanuel, for speaking to us this afternoon on Newsbeat. He is with the Institute of Energy Security. Still watching Newsbeat here on Metro Television, and we are live on Facebook at Metro TV Ghana and also on DSTV channel 277. We're taking a break. We'll be back shortly. Please do stay. Welcome back from the break. Now, the Veronica bucket, a simple system used in promoting hand washing, is gradually becoming a hard-to-locate facility in most strategic places in Accra. The hand washing stations, which used to be very visible, especially during the peak of the COVID-19 pandemic at market centers, schools, and lorry stations, are largely off the stands. With the resurgence in deaths from the COVID-19 virus, some concerned Ghanaians have called on government to urge the regular hand washing and direct for the use of the Veronica buckets.
Veronica buckets, comprising of a bucket and a basin on top of a wooden or metal stand, are placed outside many public places for quick and easy sanitation and hand washing. However, its use for hand washing has in one way or the other been neglected. Metro News's visit to some schools, marketplaces and lorry stations told a different story. At the Kanda cluster of schools, Veronica buckets for hand washing were available with soaps and tissue papers. The situation was not different from that of St. Kizito RC Basic School in Nima, with a number of Veronica buckets available. At the Nima cluster of schools, there were no Veronica buckets. The situation in the public places such as the markets and lorry stations was considering. Veronica buckets we found at some of the centers were either empty or used for other purposes like storage. Whereas some persons the news team interacted with deemed it a responsibility of the president to enforce the use of Veronica buckets and to urge regularly hand washing, others said it must be born out of personal responsibility and to become habitual practice.
It became mandatory to wash our hands, but now that the virus is no longer there, we no longer have to wash our hands. Since the virus is no longer serious and deadly like it was, we have also forgotten about it. Our leaders do not even care.
At the beginning of the virus, we were educated with regards to the virus, and it got us scared. So we began to adhere to the safety protocols. We no longer wash our hands like we used to do. And that's the reason we have no Veronica buckets at the entrance of the market.
I do all the time. It's part of me. Anytime I just touch anything, I have to wash my hands. So we have to do it. It should be a practical thing that we do over and over again.
Meanwhile, according to the Ghana Health Service COVID-19 updates, as of 20th June 2022, confirmed cases of COVID-19 stood at 164,843 total number of cases, 1,417 active cases, 161,978 recovered or discharged, and 1,444 deaths.
Washing of hands, which is one of the important protocols recommended by the World Health Organization to prevent the spread of the global COVID-19 pandemic, is gradually becoming a neglect among most Ghanaians. However, this important neglect is a worrying situation as most marketplaces, lorry stations and even institutions do not even have Veronica buckets to observe this hand washing. But if we want to fight against COVID-19 and there are unavailability of Veronica buckets, how do we fight the spread of COVID-19? For Metro News, Zoe Anita Odey, Accra.
Now away from that, the Chief Justice, Justice Enini Yeboah, has admonished 95 lawyers called to the bar earlier on Friday to uphold high sense of integrity in the discharge of their services to the courts. He has also urged the lawyers to make themselves available to the less privileged and not see the profession as a good mine to amass wealth.
The 95 lawyers to be sought eagerly, waiting to be inducted as full-fledged professionals to begin their practice across the courts in the country. After a call by the Attorney General, Godfred Yeboah-Dame, for the process to begin and seconded by the President of the Ghana Bar Association, Yaw Boafo, the Chief Justice, Justice Enini Yeboah, urged the new lawyers to explore available options to add up to the knowledge acquired in their study.
We should take advantage of any training programs, procedural and substantive law for legal practitioners. And I urge you as young lawyers to be mindful of courtroom language and etiquette. Avoid the use of indecent, indecorous, and intemperate language, show of arrogance, self-importance, and other undesirable attitudes.
He charged them to desist from charging their client more than necessary and uphold the integrity of the profession.
As practitioners, you should not disregard the professional charging fees by overcharging your clients, especially for services that you've not even rendered. I wish to remind you from the outset that the distinguished profession you are joining is a demanding one, which requires a firm commitment to excellence and underpinned by an unbending zeal for hard work. Your success at the bar cannot be perceived in purely monetary and material terms only. And I say this with great emphasis because the legal profession is not a gold mine.
Some of the lawyers who spoke to Metro News pledged to commit themselves to the call and eschew the fundamentals of the profession.
The desire to become a lawyer is first and foremost to be of aid and of service to the poor in the society. Legal fees is not cheap, and then there are so many vulnerable people who are at the mercy of the law, who need lawyers to just come to their aid. And I believe and I'm hopeful that I'll be of use to a lot of them.
It's my responsibility to abide by the profession, the ethics and the code. Basically, that's what I'm going to do to protect this legal profession.
Not just working for money, but also, supporting with legal aid. That also helps with the integrity, because at the end of the day, people always think that lawyers are all about money, but it's not just about that. Some people can actually go out there and support people who have cases and don't even have lawyers.
The event was graced by the Minister of Justice and his deputy, the Chief Justice, Justices of the Supreme Court, and the Regional Minister, Henry Korte, among others.
President for the Association of International Schools, Florence Japan, has called on parents to be concerned and guide their wards against the negative effects of social media. She was speaking at the graduation ceremony at the MCS International High School graduation for 2022. The MCS International High School provides a stimulating learning environment with a technological orientation across the whole curriculum, which maximizes individual potentials and ensures students of all levels are well equipped to meet the challenges of education, work, and life. The graduation ceremony brought together family, friends, and siblings.
We are of the firm conviction that in this fast-changing world, our children need to be grounded in certain values that make them independent-minded. We are therefore proud and happy to announce that due to the consistency of hard working with our three-pronged approach, we have been making excellent results.
Speaking on behalf of the Education Minister, Director for Pre-Tertiary Education at the Ministry of Education, Nana Bafo called on parents to support the awards.
In the area of STEM, only about 12% of senior high school students are enrolled in science discipline. This level of science enrollment will not enable us to create the pipeline of students required to meet our 60 to 40 science humanity ratio. If the status quo remains, to address this challenge, the government is expanding and retooling science resource centers of some existing senior high schools to improve science enrollment.
President for the Association of International Schools, Florence Japan, called on parents to guide their wards against unnecessary usage of social media.
A lot of the things that are posted on social media are the kind of ungodly values which we really don't want to promote in our children. And the fact that some of what they see is coming from celebrities, and celebrities are very influential as far as our children are concerned. So we have to guide them, we have to explain to them, not everything that you are going to see on social media is good for you. So you have to be careful how you respond to what you see and what you hear, and how you react to it in terms of what seems to look fantastic, but in the end, it will do you no good. So we're just saying they should be selective in the kind of social media and the way they use social media.
Deserving students were awarded. Down to KUMASI, where business activities at the new KEJETIA market have suffered a setback for the past 3 days after the Electricity Company of Ghana cut power supply to the new trading edifice. The new KEJETIA market, according to management, owed the ECG a whopping 5 million Ghana cedis of unpaid electricity bills.
A visit to the KEJETIA market in Kumasi by Metro News on Friday afternoon revealed that there was total darkness in the entire market, particularly the ground floor. Most traders were using their mobile phones as torches to light their wares, while others whose businesses heavily rely on electricity like the cold stores, eateries and others have also closed their shops. The chairman of the Federation of Traders in Kumasi, Nana Akwesi Prempe, led the executives of the Federation to the Ashanti Regional Police Command to seek police protection to embark on a massive demonstration against the act. He complained that the traders are in difficult times following the ECG's action. He advised the managers of the KEJETIA market to provide a meter for each shop in the market to avert electricity problems in the market.
We are disappointed in them. We are highly, highly disappointed. For almost 2 years now, we have been agitating for individual separate meters within the market. We, the traders, were prepared to pay for the meters. We don't see the reason why the government is reluctant in heeding to the call of these traders. We've got to realize that unless we come out strongly in the form of demonstration to demonstrate against the government, maybe they will heed to us.
Some of the traders also expressed their frustrations on the power cut.
If we feel we cannot stay in the darkness, we will move out so they close down the market.
The manager of the Kumasi City Market, Kofi Dufour, explained that the management is working on ensuring that every shop gets its separate meters. He urged the traders to honor their responsibilities and pay their bills for electricity that they have consumed to avert any reoccurrence of the total power cut in the market.
It is an issue that has been a bit funny in that the traders have said they will not pay any electric bill until they receive individual meters. Management has played this role in ensuring that the necessary documentation has been done. Just last week, the ECG, who management had engaged at various levels, presented 8 reports to us. Hopefully next week the board will meet on it in an emergency meeting to invite bids so that the contract will be awarded.
And in business, the president of Traders Advocacy Group Ghana, Kwejo Amwaten, has reiterated the need for government to look at possible ways of empowering local traders for them to be able to compete with foreign counterparts in the country, particularly with the existence of African Continental Free Trade Area. He said this on the sidelines of the unveiling of Dinah Hamilton as the brand ambassador of Property Electronics. There's more in the following reports by Ashanti Regional Correspondent Abdul Bassett. Property Electronics is a registered company in Ghana that deals in consumer electronics for homes, offices, churches, and others. The company prides itself in durable, affordable, and high-quality electronics such as fridges, freezers, air conditioners, irons, blenders, amongst others. Multiple award-winning Ghanaian gospel artist Dinah Hamilton was on Friday, June 24, unveiled as the brand ambassador for the electronics giant. The partnership, according to the officials of the company, would help promote the products as well as assist in various social responsibility programs as Dinah Hamilton takes over the ambassadorial position of the brand. Speaking at the ceremony, a representative of Property Electronics, Yvonne Osei, explained the rationale behind the choice of Dinah Hamilton as the brand ambassador.
We are happy to have Mrs. Dinah Hamilton as our brand ambassador. She has a strong and solid, long-lasting brand, just like all property electronic devices. It is our fervent belief and expectation to have a long-lasting partnership with Mrs. Dinah Hamilton.
The head of enterprise clients at Stanbic Bank, Eric Sri, entreated banks to partner private sectors so they would be able to grow their businesses and be the catalyst and engine of growth of the Ghanaian economy.
These are the things that we wake up to see as a financial institution, to see businesses live some of the examples that you have lived and leave legacies and show what they are capable of doing.
On his part, the president of Traders Advocacy Group Ghana, Kwadwo Amoateng, called on the government to empower local traders and companies to be able to flex their muscles with foreign counterparts, and also appealed for tax holidays for Guinean companies.
These are people that government need to support, and the one district, one factory is a laudable idea, but such a brand, I think we will recommend it for local government, for Ghana Education Service to deal with them. Any product, air conditioning, fans, television, irons, washing machines, they have the capacity to supply every quantity that the government may need.
An elated Dinah Hamilton, who spoke after the signing and exchange of agreement with Property Electronics, expressed her gratitude to God and the company and promised to deliver to the satisfaction of the brand.
It's a joy, it's an honor, it's a privilege, it's an excitement for me. But then also I want to use that opportunity to tell everyone, those hearing me now, those that will hear me later, every Ghanaian, to take pride in what we have and use it so that one, it will make these companies grow, and then also you feel proud to be using something that is homegrown.
Now, an expert in the housing sector, Ian Morris, has indicated that in order for Ghana to bridge the housing deficit gap, all stakeholders, including government, would have to deliberate to find a lasting solution to this age-long problem. According to data from the Ghana Statistical Service on housing in this country, the national housing deficit has reduced by 33% from a previous 2.8 million to 1.8 million in the last 50 years. This, according to the Statistical Service, points to possibly some interventions from the government and the private sector. Although this may come as comforting news, there's more that needs to be done to resolve the situation. Speaking to Metro News, Ian Morrison, the managing director of Trasaco, called for a collaborative effort to resolve the situation.
I think it's not an issue that can be fixed by one company at all. It's a very large issue that we need to work together with all the stakeholders in the whole industry, and even outside. So we need government, we need the developers, we need the banks, and everyone needs to work together to get a product that is actually really affordable to the average Ghanaian. Not some $50,000, $100,000 houses, but houses that are down at $20,000, $25,000 with a plot that's expandable, that it can suit the needs of the people who are going to buy them and allow them to expand that house as they become a bit more wealthy and as a bit more time goes on. So it needs to be a design that can accommodate that. It needs to have assistance from government, maybe with land banks, with making sure there aren't any issues to do with the land.
He further disclosed some plans his outfit has put in place over the years to resolve the situation.
I think we've tried to push the envelope in terms of housing and housing quality as far forward as we can. I think some of the things that we've introduced over the years have really made maybe some design difference to Accra, to the city itself. I mean, this project for one, and I think we've always tried to sort of be a bit innovative in the use of materials and bringing in new technologies, new use of materials to always improve the quality and the deliverability of the houses.
Okay. Now, data from the 2021 World Development Report shows that 37% of Ghanaians lack digital skills. Speaking at a hybrid workshop in Accra, the Minister of Communications and Digitalization, Ursula Owusu-Ekufo, believes government's policies would be enhanced through effective data usage and collaborations.
The World Development Report 2021 was on the theme Data for Better Lives, which explores the tremendous potential of the changing data landscape to improve the lives of poor people, businesses, and societies. According to the Minister of Communication and Digitalization, Ursula Owusu-Ekufo, access to data will greatly improve digital literacy in Ghana.
We all know that if we can establish a proper data regime, we would have more transparency and efficiency in the utilization of the data. Artificial intelligence will enable real-time update of the different models for different stakeholders. And government will be able to make policy decisions based on data science and communicate effectively to citizens who would have access to the same data, which should improve upon efficiencies and effectiveness and the trust relationship between government and the citizenry. what would make it possible for us to access the data held in several databases. And we think that putting in place a data exchange hub will provide the infrastructure, protocols, and framework for data sharing across the public and the private sectors.
Government statistician Professor Samuel Kobna Enim called for the establishment of a data institute. The CEO of the Ghana Chamber of Technologies, Dr. Kenneth Ashigbe, believes the government should intensify investment into digital literacy.
It is about time we think about establishing a National Data Policy Institute, and one of their core functions would be the mapping of data to policy. So at the end of the day, if for instance we use the call detail records to track flooding, get people to say that don't go to these places because we've used that rich data from our telecommunication institutions, we'll be able to say that that coordination, that partnership has led to this X number of lives that are saved because of the data that we're getting from the telecos.
The workshop is part of a series of national events designed to raise awareness of data policy messages in the Western and Central Africa region.
It's very important that one of the major things we see in Ghana in terms of the ability to be able to take advantage of this digital transformation is the issue of literacy. Digital literacy, and it's also relevant digital literacy. And so we need to be investing a lot of resources into that. And then how do we use these technologies to resolve the challenges that confront us? Because our context is completely different. So same like the way we did with mobile money. We did not go the way the West had gone, where they'd use the cards and all of that. We use technology, and we were able to look at our context to apply that to us.
And that's all for business. We're taking a break. When we come back, we'll do some more. Welcome back. Up next is entertainment news. Now, Ghanaian-born Grammy-nominated producer Nabein was in Ghana over the week, and I caught up with him for a conversation on his music journey. Take a listen. He's worked with top artists in the USA, including Drake, Nas, Miguel, and also worked on Kanye West's Thunder album. At Ghana, Nabein in Pamford, a Grammy-nominated producer popularly known as Nabein has been sharing his music journey with Metro News.
I started off in the industry basically 2016 after I finished getting my master's degree in film scoring. And so just through like the connections and the artists I was working with, like most of these placements come from collaboration. So your network is your net worth. So I really feel like the more you collab with people, like the greater your chances are at working with multiple artists.
Nabein, who has been in Ghana for 2 weeks now, shared what he has been up to since his visit to his motherland.
Yeah, so me and Kwamna, we did like 4 joints together. I think we recorded to about 3 of them, and we're supposed to link again this week with him, possibly Kwesi Arthur and Kofi Jamar, I believe that's his name. And I meet up with Rocky Daoni today so we can finish a couple records. My goal out here is really to like give Ghana a new sound. And I think that if it's more digestible worldwide, that's what'll help bring more light to Ghana.
The Ghanaian-born producer also expressed his excitement about the growth of Afrobeat and its influence globally.
A few years ago, I had slowly seen like the Afrobeat music like make its way into pop music, and then it sort of died down. But now it's like more Afrobeat artists are being played in the States. And I think that's dope just because America is like becoming more aware of the sound, and Africa is making its name prominent.
And that's all for entertainment. Up next is international news. 18 migrants have died and others injured when a huge crowd tried to cross into Spain's North African enclave of Melilla, officials from neighboring Morocco have said. And reports say some of those who died had fallen from the top of a border fence. Migrants were admitted to the hospital for treatment following clashes early on Friday. And it was the first of such attempted mass crossings since Spain and Morocco resumed diplomatic ties in March. And the thaw in relations came after Spain supported Morocco's autonomy plan for the disputed region of Western Sahara. Now, Spanish officials say several hundreds of people tried to break through into the enclave after cutting fencing. And that's all for the bulletin this afternoon. Many thanks for watching. My name is Desmond Okrekudan. So I'll be crossing over to the one-week observation of the passing of the father of the boss of the executive chairman of the Just One Group of Companies. Many thanks for watching. We'll be back at 7 with the news tonight. Bye.